What's going on, guys? This is Empty Box, and today we're going to be talking about IndyCar, specifically the 2017 season that starts this weekend, and then I am quite excited for. Talking about real-world motorsports for once here on this channel. Hopefully this will be something that I do a little bit more this year, specifically with the IndyCar side of things, but maybe some other series as well, and some things and discussions. Because in a way it's fun to do, but it's just up to you guys whether or not you like these videos, so let me know. As for why IndyCar, obviously I'm a huge IndyCar fan. It is, my favorite series. It is the racing I prefer to watch. By no means the only racing I watch, but definitely the series that I follow the closest. And I think 2017 is going to be an absolutely fantastically fun season to watch, even though, well, it probably shouldn't, given there's bigger changes on the horizon in 2018. It should be one of those lost years that everybody just kind of powers through, but it's not going to be at all. So schedule-wise, the 2017 calendar is basically the exact same as the 2016 calendar, with one notable addition, and that being Gateway. The oval outside of St. Louis sees its return to the open-wheel calendar. Yes, good. More ovals is always a good thing until we get to 50-50. It needs to be 50-50 or else. Okay? Simple as that. You guys out there who are, they don't have enough ovals, go to an oval race. They'll add more ovals. I mean, if you don't show up, they're never going to add more ovals. Simple as that. So let's go ahead and fix this problem. On the car side of things, the bodywork for 2017 is the exact same as the 2016 bodywork. The aero kit development was frozen halfway through the season last year, basically, as they're going to be going to a new spec bodywork configuration in 2018, which should hopefully actually make the car look better, because a lot of the things they've said will definitely make the car look better. So really excited for that, but that's something for next year. This means that it is pretty much guaranteed that Chevy will enjoy its large advantage over the Honda field. Pretty much anywhere that is not Indianapolis, Texas, or Pocono, they should have the advantage pretty handily, although we'll talk about that a little bit later. In terms of other car-related things, there was a change in the brake manufacturer from Brembo to Performance Friction, which is not something that you necessarily hear talked about much. But every now and then you would always hear these stories with the DW12 about just total brake issues and teams really complaining about it. It seemed like it kind of dropped off, but I think a lot of it was people had just become accustomed to the garbage that it was due to brake temperatures not being even between the two sides of the cars and all sorts of different shenanigans. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out, whether or not there's any brake system issues or anything like that throughout the season. Keep your eyes peeled on that, as well as teams will now be able to manufacture certain components of the car. This is a cost-saving move. They'll still be built to the same spec, but it's said by a couple of teams out there that they can actually build the parts cheaper than what they were buying it. So obviously if they can build it cheaper than what they're buying it for, that means cost savings, and that means hopefully more owners in the future. Get the cost down, everybody happy. But otherwise, everything's pretty much the same on that front. So let's go ahead and talk about the cars and teams moving around, because holy crap, this was a silly season. So first of all, KV Racing is no more. They're over, done, gone, out of here, which isn't exactly surprising. It seemed like that was always that operation that it seemed like somehow they always showed up, but nobody ever really knew how. However, a lot of the cars and the equipment has been purchased by Juncos Racing, who's going to be moving up the ladder from Indy Lights and the Pro Mazda series up into IndyCar. They're slated to hopefully go full-time in 2018, but they will be running the Indy 500 here in 2017 with that car that they purchased from KV Racing, which is good to see. It's good to see a new owner hopefully coming into IndyCar, and hopefully that'll work out well. But obviously with KV Racing being no more, Sebastian Bourdais, the fourth-time champion, guy who dominated Champ Car World Series back in the day, went to F1. Yeah, that guy, he's now driving for Dale Coyne Racing again. And on top of that, Dale Coyne Racing has a lot of former Newman Haas staff, which is the team that Bourdais dominated Champ Car World Series back in the day with. So Dale Coyne Racing could suddenly become a legitimate contender, and not in the Dale just ran a crazy strategy again and somehow they ended up at the front of the race and nobody really knows how, but actually fast, like legitimately like a contender. I can't wrap my head around that. And of course the Revolving Door, that is the 19 car for Dale Coyne, That's going to end up being taken care of by Ed Jones, who is the 2016 Indy Lights champ, using his scholarship to secure that ride, which he should be a pretty solid driver. Certainly, definitely not no Draconi or anything like that. He should actually be able to, be competent. At the top of the heap, though, Team Penske. Juan Pablo Montoya has been essentially pushed out of the 2-car due to contracts and the fact that, well, there was a free agent on the market that Penske pretty much needed to get, because when Roger wants a driver, Roger gets a driver. And that would be Joseph Newgarden, who will take over the 2-car, which that is going to be one tremendously stacked team between Pagenaud, Power, and then you head in Newgarden. And oh yeah, that old guy, that Castroneves guy, he hasn't won in like 50 years seemingly, but he keeps ending up somehow having a lot of points at the end of the season, and nobody really knows how. So yes, this will be a year dominated by Penske, but it should actually be fun to watch the dynamic between those 4 drivers as well. Montoya will run the 500 though for Penske, which means that there will be 5 Penske cars in the 500, which is just absolutely terrifying. Of course, because Newgarden has left to drive for Penske, because who doesn't leave to drive for Penske? Again, Roger wants a driver, Roger gets a driver. That means that J.R. Hildebrand will now take over the car formerly driven by Newgarden, which this is one of those things that it wasn't surprising because he was one of the drivers announced as in the running for the ride, but my initial reaction was, and then I thought back to earlier in 2016, I should say actually middle of the season, after Newgarden's accident with Conor Daly in which he broke his collarbone at Texas, and that crash, J.R. Hildebrand got a lot of credit for working on that car, working on the setup, and really helping the Ed Carpenter Racing program along in that period of time, as well as he ran well in the Indy 500. So I think, yes, a lot of people, including myself, think of J.R. Hildebrand as that guy who really didn't do much in his initial stint in IndyCar, who happened to throw away the Indy 500 in the 4th turn of the 200 lap at Indianapolis, but maybe that's a little bit unfair. Maybe he has improved a bit with a little bit more seat time, a little bit more experience, and we'll see. I would not be surprised if he actually does end up running well several times this year, even though my initial reaction was very not so positive. But the carnage doesn't stop there. In a move that was somewhat unexpected, although reasonably expectable given the fact that Foyt basically got rid of everything and rebuilt the whole organization more or less, Takuma Sato and Carlos Munoz will essentially seat swap. Sato is going to be driving for Andretti Autosport next year, whereas Carlos Munoz is going to Foyt, and Foyt is switching from Honda, hence why they had Sato, over to Chevrolet, which obviously with the better aero kit, the better engine, you figure they're going to be a contender. Yes, Foyt has been an absolute dumpster fire for several years now, but I think the switch from Honda to Chevrolet, as well as a lot of the changes that they have made in the offseason, and they have made a lot of changes in the offseason because, again, they have been a dumpster fire, should hopefully see that program become competitive once again. And then in the other AJ Foyt Enterprises car is Conor Daly, who is impressive as a rookie with the Dale Coyne entry. So it'll be interesting to see if he can continue that through in his second full season of IndyCar. And in case that silly season wasn't silly enough, Chip Ganassi Racing has switched from Chevy to Honda. Yeah. So they're basically going to have to purchase all of the Honda bodywork to run for this one season and one season only. Honda gets a huge program that is far more competent, apparently, than what Andretti Autosports has been the last several years, and we're going to see how that pans out. Quite frankly, this is one of those moves that makes no sense at all until you think about the fact that, A, Honda paid them a good buttload of money, or alternatively gave them a very good deal on engine leases, or alternatively, maybe Chip knows something that we don't know. And I would not be surprised at that, because when it comes down to it, he's not stupid. So yes, it is a year of stability and a year that is basically a write-off year in preparation for a lot of the changes that will inevitably happen in 2018 with the car as well as the driver lineup. But somehow this silly season ended up being absolutely crazy and should make for one heck of an interesting race come this weekend and throughout the season. And actually, I was going to talk about some of the storylines that I'm interested in seeing playing out here in the 2017 season. However, I think I'm going to actually split this into 2 different parts just for easier viewing and a bit of a different format from my usual videos, which are fairly long. So I'll talk about that in the next topic. This will be part 1 of 2, and you guys will all figure it out, obviously. So hope you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know what you guys think about this type of video and this type of thing. So yeah, bye.